Man, that's heartbreaking. That is a heartbreaking way to lose a baseball game and also to lose a series to the Colorado Rockies once again in Colorado. Phillies have now lost what, 9 of their last 10 games or something like that, or something, or like 8 out of their last 9 games or something like that. It's been a long time since they won a baseball game, going back to that Mets series or going back to the Marlins series. Actually, it's been a very long time, and it's felt like a while since we've, actually had something very good to discuss about. Still, I'm going to keep stressing. I'm not worried, but at the end of the day, I keep stressing that much and much more, but it still doesn't make it any less frustrating at that point because the bats, they were awake today. You do score 5 runs today. The bullpen pitching was not there for you. And also Kyle Gibson also had 1 inning in this ball game where he was not lights out like he was majority of this night, and he allowed 3 runs to score. But you did get some clutch at bats. You get Kyle Schwarber hitting a go-ahead 2-run shot. But then when you get into that bottom of the 7th inning, you get Sir Anthony Dominguez on the mound. He gets the first 2 outs. And I don't like blaming umpires. I'm not blaming the umpire for this loss. But an umpire can change the way with his calls on how the course of an inning can proceed. He gets the first 2 outs. He gets an 0-2 count to Blackman. I think it gets to around 2-2 or something like that. Dominguez throws an absolute dot right on the corner. Umpire doesn't call a strike, he calls a ball, makes the 3-2 count. Then the very next pitch, he walks Charlie Blackman. And then very next batter, umpire also misses a strike call possibly. And then Chris Bryant chops one into the infield, gets an infield single. So you get 2 men on. Joe Girardi elects to go to the bullpen to bring in Familia. CJ Grown comes out there. Familia gets into a count, leaves a hanging slider right over the middle of the plate, and Crone does not miss it whatsoever. He crushed it, and he gave the Rockies the lead, and that was eventually the winning run of the ballgame. Phillies did bring 1 run back to make it a 6-5 game, but eventually it was not enough. The Phillies could not catch a break whatsoever in this game, and it just makes it even more frustrating to witness because right now this team as a whole still struggling, and also there are moments where this team just cannot catch a single goddamn break, and it's really frustrating to witness as a whole. Really is, because I really thought there were some good moments offensively tonight. I really thought there were, but right now this team is finding ways to lose ball games, and apparently this was their first blown save of the year by Familia in that 7th inning. So yeah. So before we get into all of that stuff, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports. And before we get into this Phillies loss over the Colorado Rockies, the most important thing you can do is hit that subscribe button. I will greatly appreciate that. So if you're looking for all the latest Philadelphia sports news, recaps, and events, this is the place to be at, depending on the outcome, great or miserable, depending on the outcome. Also, if you're a current viewer of the channel, I'm grateful for you being here that long and looking to continue that down the road. And if you're looking for tickets to upcoming sporting events, concerts, whatever you can think of, use the code TTP Sports down below for $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. So that could be tickets to, Phillies home game. Get yourself some Sixers playoff tickets at the Wells Fargo Center. It's a deal you can't pass up. Free $20 in your pocket. Use that for concessions. Use that for parking. Whatever you can think of. Great deal. Can't pass that up. Use the code TTP Sports for $20 off your first purchase now at SeatGeek. So the Phillies drop this second game of the series against the Colorado Rockies by a score of 6-5. Offense, I thought, was a lot better in this ball game. Kyle Gibson had his moments of brilliance and had his 1 inning where he was not good whatsoever. And, that could be labeled as an issue there by Kyle Gibson. And it was frequently kind of annoying because you get the early lead and then Kyle Gibson has that 1 inning where he blows up and the Rockies instantly take the lead. Thankfully, your offense did respond, though, helping out Kyle Gibson there. But still, this day, not blaming it on the batters, even though maybe they could have came up clutch in more situations. Maybe they shouldn't be grounding into so many double plays throughout the end of the ball game. But I feel like this is one of the more games where the pitching needs to be better, especially in the bullpen. And yeah, the bullpen has been really good for you this year. Today, it just wasn't. Dominguez didn't get a break with the strike calls, and Familia came in there and just gave up the lead. So at the end of the day, that just can't happen. That simply cannot happen, and it doesn't make it any less frustrating to witness. So looking throughout this ball game, the Phillies once again get on the board early. Rhys Hoskins, triple. Surprisingly, I didn't even expect him to get a triple in this situation. He gets there, and then Bryce Harper drives him in with a single. Sadly, they weren't able to drive Bryce Harper home because Nick Castellanos grounded into a force out. Could have been a double play, actually, but for some reason, the exchange to second base, the ball was dropped on the throw, and they still called Bryce Harper out, which was a weird situation entirely. I don't know why Joe Girardi did not elect to review or challenge the play whatsoever, to where Bryce Harper probably could have been safe at second base, and you could have had 2 men on for JT Realmuto with 1 out in the first inning, but sadly, that does not happen. He eventually grounds out, and that's the end of the first inning there. Kyle Gibson really just dealing through the first couple of innings through the Rockies' order. Through the first 3 innings, it's a really good stretch right there from Kyle Gibson. You go to the top of the 4th inning for the Phillies. JT leads off with a single out, but then Schwarber ends up grounding into a double play, so nothing really happens there. Alec Bohm gets a walk. And then Didi Gregorius, before this inning, actually, he gets hit in the hand, right in the knuckles, I believe. He eventually does come out of the ball game. He stayed in for that moment to go to first base after the hit by pitch, but he comes out of the ball game. Camargo pinch hits for him. He gets a single, so you got 2 men on for Matt Vierling. Singles to the right side, drives in Alec Bohm, makes it a 2-0 ball game, and there you go. You got a 2-0 lead right there. But then you go into the bottom of the 4th inning. This is Kyle Gibson's blow-up inning. Charlie Blackmon leads off with a single, and then Bryant also singles as well. And this is one of those things. Blackman's single was a broken bat, so it was really just a bleeder right up the middle. Nothing you can do about that. And then Chris Bryant, he just hit it the other way against the shift. So that's basically just one of those scenarios where the shift came back to haunt you in that scenario because the hitter just hit it in the opposite direction. CJ Cron hits a sac fly, makes it a 2-1 ball game. McMahon walks, and then Bryant goes up to second. Then you get a fielder's choice where Alec Bohm, he gets the out at second base, but they don't turn the double play. I guess the throw was just a little bit off, but I'm not going to fully blame Alec Bohm on that situation. They probably would have turned the double play regardless. Then Grichuk singles, ties the ball game up at 2, and then Diaz singles to make it a 3-2 ball game for the Rockies. Phillies go down in order in the top of the 5th inning. Much better bottom of the 5th inning for Kyle Gibson. Then you go to the top of the 6th. JT Realmuto leads off with a single, and then you get Kyle Schwarber, who had some really nice at-bats today, finally gets rewarded. He laces one to the opposite field, and it barely just goes over the wall for a 2-run shot, puts the Phillies back up 4-3. That's Schwarber's 3rd home run of the season, and hopefully this is a game where he can wakes up because he had 2 hits in this ball game, and he looked a lot better in the batter's box. Bottom of the 6th, Kyle Gibson back out there. Looked pretty decent. Gets a 1-2-3 inning there. Nothing happening for the Phillies in the 7th, but then you go to that bottom of the 7th inning for the Rockies. Dominguez comes on the mound. Gibson's night is done. He gets the first 2 outs. Gets Iglesias to ground out, and then he gets Joe to strike out swinging. But then we get to the Charlie Blackmon at bat. So we get 2-2 count. Throws an absolute dot right on the top right corner of the plate. Umpire calls it a ball instead of a strike. Could have gone either way, but it looked more a strike than not. So umpire calls it a ball. Very next pitch, walks him. And then granted, you also go into that bat. He was up 0-2 in the count, Sir Anthony Dominguez, and he eventually drew back to walk Charlie Blackmon. So in that situation, that just cannot happen. Umpire, yes, changed the dictation of what the inning happened, because I'm not going to blame the umpire for the loss, no. Because at the end of the day, your players do need to execute when need be. But an umpire can change the course of how an inning transpires. Because say if there was like one of these other situations too, I forget which game it was. I think it was during the Marlins series, I do believe. And I'm not sure if it was Gibson on the mound or if it was Zack Eflin on the mound. I am not entirely sure about that scenario. But Zack Eflin, I feel like it was one of those two, Gibson or Eflin. And there was a pitch, I think it was a 1-1 candidate situation. Instead of it becoming a 1-2 count, it became a 2-1 count. And I do believe that at bat turned into a base hit or something like that, turned into a walk, and then it eventually turned into a really good inning by the Marlins instead of the Phillies getting out of the inning. Yes, I do believe that was another Kyle Gibson outing because I remember one of those situations where he was very frustrated coming out of one of those innings. So it was one of those situations where the umpire missed the call. It becomes a more favorable count for the hitter, and then it turns into an inning for another team to score some runs. And this is one of those types of situations where if Charlie Blackmon, the umpire calls that strikeout, none of this stuff ever happens in that seventh inning. The Phillies get out of it. So Anthony Dominguez gets a 1-2-3 inning. But the umpire doesn't call the strike, calls the ball. So Anthony Dominguez then loses Blackmon, doesn't give him the chase. He walks the batter. And then Brian comes up, gets an infield hit. Not going to blame Alec Bohm entirely on that play because Chris Bryant does run well. It was a chopper right up the line. Alec Bohm honestly probably made the right decision not to throw it because if he was trying to rush the play entirely, he probably would have threw the ball away just because of how bad his throwing is, especially when he's trying to rush a play. So I don't blame him entirely for not trying to throw that ball and trying to make that play. So he probably made the right decision. So you get two men on, first and third situation for CJ Cron. Joe Girardi elects to go to Familia out of the bullpen. And during this at-bat, gets him into I believe a 2-2 count, if I am not mistaken. Yes, a 2-2 count. All sinkers during this entire at-bat as I'm looking at this through the ESPN feed. First pitch sinker, swing and a miss. Second pitch sinker, ball. Third pitch sinker, foul ball. Fourth pitch sinker, ball. Fifth pitch, foul ball on a sinker. Sixth pitch, the first slider of the entire at-bat. Every sinker he threw was 95. The slider was 88. He left it hanging right over the middle of the plate, and Cron did not miss it. He sent it right into the stands, made it a 6-4 ball game, and that is an absolute heartbreaker. Absolute heartbreaker. Like I said, not blaming the umpire, but like I said, the umpire, when he misses a call, when they miss calls, sometimes that can change the course of an inning. And that's exactly what happened. Probably could have been out of the inning if he did call the strikeout. But at the end of the day, that happens in baseball all the time. It just does. That's just one of those things with the game, and it just happens. Sometimes it does change the course of how an inning goes. The Phillies do respond in the top of the eighth inning. JT Realmuto hits a long double to right field, gets to second base. Kyle Schwarber gets an RBI single, drives him home. So, hey, you got something going here. You responded after the home run. You make it a one-run ball game in the next inning. But then Alec Bohm with one out grounded to a double play, and that ends the inning right there. Bellotti comes in for the eighth inning. He gets out of that situation. Phillies in the ninth inning go down 1-2-3. Camargo gets absolutely robbed of a hit there at third base. So that was just unfortunate and very unlucky. And just basically at that point, what else can go wrong for this team today? What else can go wrong? Stott then pinch hits for Viewering, strikes out, and Jean Segura grounds out as well. Jean Segura, not the best day in the leadoff spot. Definitely not the best day whatsoever. So going to the lineup today, Jean Segura goes 0-4 in the leadoff spot with a walk and a strikeout. Rhys Hoskins goes 1-4 with a triple in the first inning. He also struck out once. Bryce Harper, he goes 1-4 with an RBI. Nick Castellanos, he goes 0-4. JT Realmuto, he goes 3-4 with 2 runs scored. Kyle Schwarber, he goes 2-4 with a run scored and 3 RBIs. A really good day at the plate for him. Alec Bohm, he goes 1-3 with a run scored, a walk, and a strikeout. Didi Gregorius, he got hit by the pitch, so he left the ball game early. In came Johan Camargo. He went 2-3. Matt Vierling came in. Well, Matt Vierling started today. He went 2-3 as well. So his bat is actually starting to heat up a little bit, which is very nice to see. I do believe he has 5 hits in his last 10 or 11 bats or something like that after going 0 for a very long time to start this season. So I guess if you can pull some positives out of this, there you go. Bryson Stott, in his lone pinch hit appearance, he went 0-1 with a strikeout. So Stott hasn't gotten a hit in a very, very long time. I guess some positives you can try to pull out of this game for the lineup. Once again, JT Realmuto with a multi-hit game, a game with more than 3 hits. Well, 3 hits or more, 3-4 today. Kyle Schwarber going 2-4 with the bomb, his 3rd bomb of the season. So hopefully maybe hitting lower in the lineup, he's getting more pitches to hit. He had some very good at-bats today. Hopefully that wakes his bat up a little bit. In terms of runners in scoring position, Phillies didn't have that many chances, but they were efficient. They were 3 for 5 with runners in scoring position in this ball game. Just those mistakes by the pitchers, man. That one mistake by Familia sent right into the stands. That one mistake. Heartbreaker. Absolute heartbreaker. Kyle Gibson's night, 6 innings pitched, 6 hits allowed, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts on 90 pitches. I thought basically besides that 4th inning, he was very solid in this ball game. I have no idea what happened in that 4th inning. Just a lot of bloop hits, a lot of choppers, a lot of weak hits by the Rockies. They were all getting into the positions where fielders were just not in. And that's just sometimes how it goes. Not the best inning from Kyle Gibson. He also looked like he was losing command a little bit in that 4th inning. But still, I would say overall, he put you in a position to win this ball game because at the end of the day, the Phillies were still winning 4-3 when he was taken out of the ball game in the 7th inning. So at the end of the day, he put you in a position to win. So Anthony Dominguez, he gets charged with the loss in this ball game. Only pitched 2/3 of that 7th inning. Allowed 1 hit, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Technically, the 2 of the runs on the Crone 3-run bomb are charged to him because Dominguez allowed 2 of the base runners in that 7th. Familia got out of the 7th inning. He got the 1 out, allowed the hit, which was the home run. The Crones also struck out 1 as well. Bilotti went the full 8th inning, walked 1, struck out 1. So just a heartbreaker. Just an absolute heartbreaker, and this frustrating start to the season just continues. The Phillies are now 4-8 to start the season, and it doesn't just, the frustration just never ends. It just doesn't. One day the bats actually do wake up, and today the bullpen just didn't have it. The bullpen did not have it whatsoever, and that makes it even more frustrating. But still, I'm going to stick to my words 100,000%. Not worried about this team. 12 games into the season. They're still going to get better. I do believe in this lineup. All that stuff. Still going to stand by that 100%. Frustrated still. It's not going to go away. Still going to be frustrated like the rest of you until we can actually see, because right now it's still just unwatchable baseball. It really is. And it really gets frustrating to watch day in and day out. But still believe in this team. That's the bottom line. I still believe them, and I do believe they are going to get better as the season goes along, because track records of most teams over the recent few years that have struggled to start the year eventually go on to have really good seasons. So I'm still not worried, but it doesn't make it any less frustrating. So what are your thoughts on this game, everyone? Are you worried? Are you frustrated as basically as much as everyone else is? So don't forget to leave those comments and opinions down in the comment section below. I'd like to see those as always. Don't forget to drop a like on this video. Don't forget to check out the Painted Lines, which I'm a part of. Their links are down in the description below. Also, don't forget to check out the links to BrodesMedia, the Flyer to Pod merch website, and also Flyers Nitty Gritty. All that good stuff is down in the description below. Do not forget to check those out. And like I said at the beginning of the video, the most important thing you can do is hit that sub button. I will greatly appreciate that. And also use the code TTPSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. And I will